Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Sports Talk. I'm in my car, waiting for someone. So I decided to just jump in here, man. To this, I'm seeing a lot of comments with Hulk Hogan dying. You know, as a wrestling fan, as a growing up as a kid, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Randy Savage, Diesel, all those guys, Lex Luger's, those guys were I was a huge fan. I was a huge fan just to see what's going on. Meeting Hulk Hogan, meeting these guys. It was a great thing as a kid going through that, seeing it. You know what I mean, seeing. But then there was some disappointment being in the locker room, seeing these guys finish beating each other, and then to be in the locker room on the road together, getting in the same car together, traveling together, sharing a sandwich together. You're like, wait a minute, this is not. I thought it was real rivalry, but of course, then you find out, hey, this is fake. This is choreographed, whatever. Right? It's a movie, like a movie, and that thing was a lot different for me to experience. You know what I mean? As kids, we all have some type of dream, some type of stuff that we wanna be part of, some type of stuff like hey, kids, you watch movies, you watch shows, is that you think this stuff is real, but then you find out it's not. That's part of growing up. I was a huge fan of Hulk Hogan, of course, huge fan. I'm not gonna say I was the biggest fan, but I was a huge fan. I bought a lot of his memorabilia, a lot of stuff for the kids. I love Hulk Hogan. When his daughter dated that black guy, the disappointment was crazy. Like from what he says, I understand sometimes you say things you don't mean, but this man, it was vile. The language, the words he used towards you know when he discussed his daughter, when he was talking to he didn't know he was being recorded, talking to his daughter, dating that black guy. He dropped a lot of n words, right? With the S in it, with the S at the end, and where he said F these, and S. The disdain, the dislike, the hatred he has towards black people, and it shows that on that time, and most people say, hey, his daughter should have known to not bring a black guy around, all that stuff. But sometimes we all have parents, but this is, when I talk about racist, man, that's Hulk Hogan was racist. When talking to Booker T, to see how Booker T look at him, to see all that stuff, to see the WWE, we move him from that promo. Booker T, all those guys, all those black wrestlers that I talk to. There's a lot of black wrestlers that I talk to. Hulk Hogan was in rare form. To see how you talk about Kamala Harris, to see whatever, he was in rare form. And someone asked him, "Are you a racist?" Hulk Hogan, the late Hulk Hogan says yes, and he was part of it. And that was the times like, wow, his, like I said, his memorabilia, the shirts I had on Hulk Hogan, all that stuff. Had to move on from that, and it was disappointment. There's a lot of disappointment to, to see that. I mean, yeah, there's mixed feelings with Hulk Hogan, who was a legend. Hulk Hogan, yes, The Rock, Triple H took wrestling to a new height today, but Hulk Hogan was the one carrying. You know what I mean? He had a show, Knight Rider. He would show up on Knight Rider. Baywatch, would do all that stuff. You would love to see, the show Knight Rider as a kid, to watching, watching that Knight Rider doing all that stuff, seeing Hulk Hogan fight, seeing him in movies, in that movie Zeus, or Tiny Lester, whatever, the late Tiny Lester. It was amazing. It was amazing the stuff that he was doing. To me, like I said, it's a mixed feeling for me, who was a huge childhood fan of Hulk Hogan. This is, when he started, from this first promo he had the WWF back then, before they changed the name to before they were sued to change the name to WWE. But I remember when Vince McMahon died on wrestling, the Hulk Hogan, all that stuff. It was amazing to see. He made wrestling real. I wanted to be a wrestler. And I wanted to be a wrestler. In high school, joining wrestling team, that was because of Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was the reason why I wanted to be a wrestler. Hulk Hogan was the reason why there's a lot of stuff that, it's a little hot in here. Let me turn the AC on. But yeah, Hulk Hogan was the reason why I wanted to be a wrestler. So yes, there's a lot of mixed feelings, a lot of stuff that, as a fan, you realize, wow, this man really didn't like black people. He made it known. And I understand. Okay, you like who you like, you don't like who you like, whatever. But he made it his business to say F and N words with an S at the end. You know what I mean? When he, when they ask him, "Are you a racist?" He said, "Yes, I'm a racist." F N words with an S, with a S at the end. He emphasized that, and that was the time for me to say, "Wow, I can't mess with this man." But I remember as a kid, whatever he does, movies, whatever, shows, I was there watching. I remember it was a night, right? It was a Saturday night, whatever it is. I forgot when it would air with David Hasselhoff. Just being there watching the fight scene, all the stuff. I was like, I was a fan. I'm glued to the TV to be there to watch that. But so that's something, man. It's a lot of disappointment to hear that. Yeah, I understand. There's people who very upset to say, hey, he died. I remember, when he passed away, my wife called me, said, hey, because my wife know, that was a childhood idol. My wife called me and said, hey, Hulk Hogan died. And I was like, hey, and I remember when she said that, yes, death, you don't want anybody dying. But it was like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? What's for dinner? What are we eating for dinner? But still, it was, again, you don't want to know anyone die. You don't want to hear people dying. It was still a little shock, you know what I mean? But still disappointed. You know what I mean? Still disappointed to know that this is how this man felt the whole time. You meeting all these black kids in the arena. You doing all the show people with your stuff on. You know what I mean? And that was something, man. So, like I said, there's a lot of mixed feelings. I do have mixed feelings about that. There's a lot of things I can say, meeting him or whatever. But you were kids, and I've seen a lot of people, do that. And with kids, I see some politicians, people are famous. When they're black kids, they'll pass them, whatever. I see a lot of things, but Hulk Hogan, I thought things were different, and I'm not gonna name the wrestler name who would say certain things, but I didn't believe at the time. I was like, come on, man, that's not Hulk Hogan, man. This is, and I was taken for him. He's like, Rick, I'm in a locker room with this guy. I'm telling you. I thought, more bitter until I saw that video with his daughter, how he was talking about black people. And then someone asking him, are you a racist? And him saying, yes, he is a racist. Him saying that, he hate, F the N words with an S at the end. So hey, it is what it is. It's mixed feelings, but people have different things, different form. But it is what it is, man. Anyway, man, sports talk. Like, subscribe, and share, man. I appreciate the love. I appreciate it. Hey, YouTube, man. I saw 4K subscribers and then it went away. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on. But it is what it is, man. Anyway, man, sports talk. Like, subscribe, and share. Peace out.